As I remember, Adam, it was upon this fashion bequeathed me by will but a poor 1,000 crowns. And as thou sayest, charge my brother on his blessing to breed me well. And there begins my sadness. My brother Jock, he keeps at school. Report speaks only of his profit. For my part, he keeps me rustically at home, or, to speak more properly, stays me here at home unkept. For call you that keeping for a gentleman of my birth that differs not from the stalling of an ox? His horses are bred better, for besides they are fair with their feedings, they are taught their manage, and to that end riders dearly hired. But I, his brother, gain nothing under him but growth, for the which his animals on dunghills are as much bound to him as I. Besides, there's nothing that he so plentifully gives me that something that nature gave me his countenance seems to take from me. He lets me feed with his hands, bars me the place of a brother, and as much in him lies, minds my gentility with my education. This is it, Adam. That grieves me. And the spirit of my father, which I think is within me, begins to mutiny against his servitude, and I will no longer endure it, though yet I have no wise remedy how to avoid it.
Yonder comes my master, your brother.
Go apart, Adam, and thou shalt see how he will shake me up.
Now, sir, what make you here?
Nothing. I'm not taught to make anything.
What mar you then, sir?
Marry, sir, I'm helping you to mar that which God made a poor, unworthy brother of yours with idleness.
Marry, sir, be better employed, and be not a while.
Shall I keep your hogs and eat husks with them? What prodigal portion have I spent that I should come to such penury?
Know you where you are, sir?
Oh, sir, very well. Here in your orchard.
Know you before whom, sir?
Aye, better than him I know before he knows me. I know you are my eldest brother, and in the gentle condition of blood, you should so know me. The courtesy of nations allows you my better in that you are the firstborn, but the same tradition takes not away my blood. Were there 20 brothers betwixt us, I have as much of my father in me as you. Albeit I confess your coming here is nearer to his reverence.
What, boy?
Oh, come, older brother. You are too young in this.
Wilt thou lay hands on me, villain?
I am no villain. I am the youngest son of Sir Rowland de Boys. He was my father, and he is thrice a villain that says such a father begot villains. Were thou not my brother, I would not take this hand from thy throat till the other had pulled out thy tongue for saying so. Thou hast railed thyself.
Sweet masters, be patient, for your father's remembrance be it accord.
Let me go, I say.
I will not till I please. You shall hear me. My father charged you in his will to give me a good education. You have trained me like a peasant, obscuring and hiding me from all gentleman-like qualities. The spirit of my father grows strong in me, and I will no longer endure it. Therefore, allow me such exercises as may become a gentleman, or give me the poor lottery my father left me by testament. That I will go buy my fortunes.
And what wilt thou do? Beg when that is spent? Well, sir, get you in. I will not long be troubled with you. You shall have some part of your will. I pray you, leave me.
I will no further offend you than becomes me for my good.
Get you in with him, you old dog.
Is old dog my reward? Most true, I have lost my teeth in your service. God be with my master, he would not have spoke such a word.
Is it even so? Begin you to grow upon me. I will physic your rankness, and yet give no 1,000 crowns neither. Holla! Dennis!
Calls your worship?
Was not Charles, the Duke's wrestler, here to speak with me?
So please you, he is here at the door and importunes access to you.
Call him in. 'Twill be good away, and tomorrow the wrestling is.
Good morrow to your worship.
Oh, good Monsieur Charles. What is the new news at the new court?
There's no news at the court, sir. But the old news, that is, the old duke is banished by his younger brother, the new duke, and 3 or 4 loving lords have put themselves into voluntary exile with him, whose lands and revenues enrich the new duke. Therefore, he gives them good leave to wander.
Can you tell if Rosalind, the duke's daughter, be banished with her father?
No, for the duke's daughter, her cousin, so loves her, being ever from their cradles bred together, that she would have followed her exile, or have died to stay behind her. She's at the court, and no less beloved of her uncle than his own daughter, and never 2 ladies loved as they do.
Where will the old duke live?
They say he's already in the forest of Arden, and a many merry men with him, and there they live like the old Robin Hood of England. They say many young gentlemen flock to him every day, and fleet the time carelessly as they did in the golden world.
What? You wrestle tomorrow before the new duke?
Ah, marry I do, sir, and I came to acquaint you with the matter. I'm given, sir, secretly to understand that your younger brother Orlando hath a disposition to come in disguised against me to try a fall. Tomorrow, sir, I wrestle for my credit, and he that escapes me without some broken limb shall acquit him well. Your brother is but young and tender, and for your love I would be loath to foil him, as I must for my own honor if he come in. And therefore, out of my love to you, I came hither to acquaint you with all, that either you might stay him from this intendment, or brook such disgrace well as he shall run into in it. It is a thing of his own search, and altogether against my will.
Charles, I thank thee for thy love to me, which thou shalt find I will most kindly requite. I had myself notice of my brother's purpose herein, and have by underhanded means labored to dissuade him from it, but he is resolute. I'll tell thee, Charles, it is the stubbornest young fellow of France, full of ambition and emulator of every good man's parts, a secret and villainous contriver against me, his natural brother. Therefore use thy discretion. I had as lief thou did breaks his neck as his finger, and thou wert best to look to it, for if thou dost him any slight disgrace, or if he do that, that dost mightily disgrace himself on thee, he will practice against thee by poison, entrap thee by some treacherous device, and never leave thee till he hath gained thy life by some indirect means or other. For I assure thee, and it is almost with tears that I speak it, there is not one so young and so villainous this day living. I speak but brotherly of him, but should I anatomize him to thee as he is, I must blush and weep, and thou must look pale and wonder.
I'm heartily glad I came hither to you. If he come tomorrow, I'll give him his payment. If ever he go alone again, I'll never wrestle for prize more. And so God keep your worship.
Oh, farewell, good Monsieur Charles. Oh. Oh, now I will stir this gamester. I hope I shall see an end to him, for my soul, I know not why, hates nothing more than he. Yet he's gentle, never schooled and yet learned, full of noble devices, and indeed so much in the hearts of the world, and especially of my own people who know him best, that I am altogether misprized. It shall not be for long. This wrestler shall clear all. Nothing remains but that I kindle the boy thither, which now I'll go about.
I pray thee, Rosalind. Sweet my coz, be merry.
Dear Celia, I show more mirth than I am mistress of. And would you yet I were merrier? Unless you could teach me to forget a banished father, you must not learn me how to remember any extraordinary pleasure.
Herein I see thou lovest me not with the full weight that I love thee. If my uncle, thy banished father, had banished thy uncle, the Duke my father, so long as thou hadst been so with me, I could have taught my love to take thy father for mine. So wouldst thou, if the truth of thy love to me were so righteously tempered as mine is to thee.
Well, I will forget the condition of my estate to rejoice in yours.
You know my father hath no child but I, nor none is like to have. And truly, when he dies, thou shalt be his heir. For what he hath taken from thy father perforce, I will render thee again in affection. By mine honor I will. And when I break that oath, let me turn monster. Therefore, my sweet Rose, my dear Rose, be merry.
From henceforth I will, coz, and devise sports. Let me see. What think you of falling in love?
Marry, I prithee do, to make sport withal. But love no man in good earnest, nor no further in sport neither than with safety of a pure blush thou mayst in honor come off again.
What shall be our sport then?
Let us sit and mock the good housewife Fortune from her wheel, that her gifts may henceforth be bestowed equally.
I would we could do so, for her gifts are mightily misplaced, and the bountiful blind woman doth most mistake in her gifts to women.
'Tis true, for those that she makes fair, she scarce makes honest. And those that she makes honest, she makes very ill-favoredly.
Nay, now thou goest from Fortune's office to Nature's. Fortune reigns in gifts of the world, not in the lineaments of nature.
No, when nature hath made a fair creature, may she not by fire Fortune fall into the fire? Though nature hath given us wit to flout at Fortune, hath not Fortune sent in this fool to cut off the argument?
Indeed, there is Fortune too hard for nature, when Fortune makes nature's natural the cutter off of nature's wit.
Peradventure, this is not Fortune's work neither, but nature's, who perceiveth our natural wits too dull to reason of such goddesses, and hath sent this natural for our whetstone. For always the dullness of the fool is the whetstone of the wit. How now, wit? Whither wander you?
Mistress, you must come away to your father.
Were you made the messenger?
No, by mine honor, but I was bid to come for you.
Where learned you that oath, fool?
Of a certain knight that swore by his honor they were good pancakes, and swore by his honor the mustard was not. Now I'll stand to it, the pancakes were not, and the mustard was good, and yet was not the knight forsworn.
How prove you that in the great heap of your knowledge?
Ay, Mary, now unmuzzle your wisdom.
Stand you both forth now. Stroke your chins and swear by your beards that I am a knave.
By our beards, if we have them, thou art.
Well, by my knavery, if I had it, then I were. But if you swear by that is not, you are not forsworn. No more was this knight swearing by his honor, for he never had any. Or if he had sworn it away before ever he saw those pancakes or that mustard.
Prithee, who is that thou meanest?
One that old Frederick your father loves.
My father's love is enough to honor him. Enough. Speak no more of him. You'll be whipped for taxation one of these days.
The more pity that fools may not speak wisely what wise men do foolishly.
By my troth, thou sayest true. For since the little wit that fools have was silenced, the little foolery that wise men have makes a great show. Here comes Monsieur Lebeau,
With his mouth full of news.
which he will put on us as pigeons feed their young.
Why, then we shall be news crammed.
All the better. we shall be the more marketable. Bonjour, Monsieur Lebeau. What's the news?
Fair princess, you have lost much good sport.
Sport. Of what color?
What color, madam? How shall I answer you?
As wit and fortune will.
Or as the destinies decree.
Well said. That was laid on with a trowel.
Nay, if I keep not my rank.
Thou losest thy old smell.
You amaze me, ladies. I would have told you of good wrestling, which you have lost the sight of.
You tell us the manner of the wrestling.
I will tell you the beginning, and if it please your ladyships, you may see the end, for the best is yet to do, and here where you are, they are coming to perform it.
Well, the beginning, that is dead and buried.
There comes an old man and his 3 sons.
I could match this beginning with an old tale.
3 proper young men of excellent growth and presence.
With bills on their necks, be it known unto all men by these presents.
The eldest of the 3 wrestled with Charles, the Duke's wrestler, which Charles in a moment threw him and broke 3 of his ribs, that there is little hope of life in him. So he served the 2nd, and so the 3rd. Yonder they lie, the poor old man, their father, making such pitiful dole over them, that all the beholders take their part with weeping.
Alas.
But, what is the sport, monsieur, that the ladies have lost?
Why, this that I speak of.
Thus men may grow wiser every day. It is the first time that ever I heard breaking of ribs was sport for ladies.
Or I promise thee.
Is there any else longs to see this broken music in his sides? Is there yet another dotes upon rib breaking? Shall we see this wrestling, cousin?
You must if you stay here, for here is the place appointed for the wrestling, and they are ready to perform it.
Yonder, sure, they are coming. Let us stay and see it.
Ha ha ha! Come on, since the youth will not be entreated. His own peril on his forwardness.
Is yonder the man?
Even he, madam.
Alas, he is too young. Yet he looks successfully.
How now, daughter and cousin? Are you crept hither to see the wrestling?
Aye, my liege. So pray you give us leave.
You will take little delight in it, I can tell you. There is such odds in the man. In pity of the challenger's youth, I would fain dissuade him, but he will not be entreated. Speak to him, ladies. See if you can move him.
Call him hither, good Monsieur Lebeau.
Do so. I'll not be by.
Monsieur the challenger, the princesses call for you.
I attend them with all respect and duty.
Young man, have you challenged Charles the wrestler?
No. Fair princess. He is a general challenger. I come but in as others do to try with him the strength of my youth.
Young gentlemen, your spirits are too bold for your years. You have seen cruel proof of this man's strength. If you saw yourself with your eyes or knew yourself with your judgment, the fear of your adventure would counsel you to a more equal enterprise. We pray you, for your own sake, to embrace your own safety and give over this attempt.
Do, young sir, your reputation shall not therefore be misprized. We will make it our suit to the Duke that the wrestling might not go forward.
Like I beseech you, but punish me not with your hard thoughts, where I confess me much guilty to deny so fair and excellent ladies anything. But let your fair eyes, gentle wishes go with me to my trial. What if I might be foiled? There was but one shame that was never gracious, if killed, but one dead that was willing to be so. I shall do my friends no wrong, for I have none to lament me. The world no injury, for in it I have nothing, only in the world I fill up a place which may be better supplied with which I have made empty.
The little strength that I have, I would it were with you.
And mine, to eke out hers.
Fare you well. Pray heaven I be deceived in you.
Your heart's desires be with you.
Come! Where is this young gallant that is so desirous to lie with his mother earth?
Ready, sir, but his will hath in a more modest working.
You shall try, but one fall.
No, I warrant your grace. You shall not entreat him to a second that have so mightily persuaded him from a first.
And you mean to mock me after? You should have not mocked me before, but come your ways.
Charles flies at Orlando like an oncoming bull. Orlando has barely any time to react, and Charles lays into him with a shoulder, catching the young man at the midriff. Orlando grabs hold of his opponent's shoulders to keep himself upright, but his heels leave scuff marks in the dirt as Charles pushes him helplessly along. Orlando is finally able to steady his feet enough to brace himself. Then he pivots, and Charles sways to one side. The larger man adjusts his grip, holding Orlando's arm in place with one hand and putting him in a headlock with the other. Orlando struggles, but Charles spins both of them to face the crowd, a mocking grin on his face. Orlando uses the moment of boasting to slip his head out from under Charles's bulk.
Oh, excellent young man!
By a thunderbolt in mine eye, I can tell who should down.
Orlando backs away, and having seen how Charles wrestles, is now ready for his attacks. Charles comes at him again, but each time Orlando dodges out of his reach and leads his opponent in a chase around the arena. Frustrated now, Charles bellows at Orlando, declaring him a coward in an effort to goad him, but the younger man only smiles. Suddenly, Orlando ducks a wild swing from Charles, grasps his arm, and with an extra tug, uses Charles's own weight to send him head over heels. The strong man crashes to the dirt and lays, unmoving, as the entire crowd gasps. Duke Frederick stands.
No more! No more!
Yes, I beseech your grace. I am not yet well breathed.
How dost thou? Charles!
He cannot speak, my lord.
Oh, bear him away. What is thy name, young man?
Orlando, my liege, the youngest son of Sir Alan de Bois.
Oh, I would thou hadst been son to some man else. Ugh, the world esteemed thy father honorable, but did find him still mine enemy. Thou shouldst have better pleased me with this deed. Hadst thou descended from another house, but fare thee well. Thou art a gallant youth. I would hadst thou told me of another father.
Were I my father, cuz, would I do this?
I am more proud to be Sir Alan's son, his youngest son, and would not change that calling to be adopted heir to Frederick.
My father loved Sir Rowland as his soul, and all the world was of my father's mind. Had I before known this young man his son, I should given him tears unto entreaties that ere he should thus have ventured.
Gentle cousin, let us go thank him and encourage him. My father's rough and envious disposition sticks me at heart. Sir, you have well deserved if you do keep your promises in love, but justly, as you have exceeded all promise, your mistress shall be happy.
Gentlemen, wear this for me. One out of suits with fortune that could give more, but that her hand lacks means. Shall we go, cousin?
Aye. Fare you well, fair gentleman.
Wait, can I not say thank you? Oh, my better parts are all thrown down, and that which here stands up is but a Quinton, a mere lifeless block.
He calls us back. My pride fell with my fortunes. I'll ask him what he would. Did you call, sir? Sir, you have wrestled well and overthrown more than your enemies.
Will you go, cuz?
Have with you. Fare you well.
Oh, what passion hangs these weights upon thy tongue? I cannot speak to her, yet she urged conference. Oh, poor Orlando, thou art overthrown, or Charles, or something weaker masters thee.
Good sir, I do in friendship counsel you to leave this place. Albeit you have deserved high commendation, true applause, and love, yet such is now the Duke's condition that he misconstrues all that you have done. The Duke is humorous. Witty is indeed more suits you to conceive than I to speak of.
I thank you, sir, and pray you, tell me this. Which of the two daughter was the Duke, was the Duke that was here at the wrestling?
Neither his daughter, if we judge by manners, but yet indeed the lesser is his daughter. The other is daughter to the banished Duke, and here detained by her usurping uncle to keep his daughter company. His loves are nearer than the natural bond of sisters. But I can tell you that of late this Duke hath ta'en displeasure against his gentle niece, grounded upon no other argument but that the people praise her for her virtues and pity her for her good father's sake. And on my life, the malice against the lady will suddenly break forth. Sir, fare you well. Hereafter in a better world than this, I shall desire more love and knowledge of you.
I rest much burden to you. Fare you well. Thus must I from the smoke into the smother, from tyrant Duke unto tyrant brother. But heavenly Rosalind.
Why, cousin? Why, Rosalind, Cupid have mercy, not a word?
Not one to throw at a dog.
No, thy words are too precious to be cast away upon curs. Throw some of them at me. Come, lay me with reasons.
Then there shall be two cousins laid up, when the one should be lamed with reasons and the other mad without any.
But is all this for your father?
No. Some of it is for my child's father. Oh, how full of briars is this working day world?
They are but burrs, cousin, thrown upon thee in holiday foolery. If we walk not in the trodden paths, our very petticoats will catch them.
I could shake them off my coat. These burrs are in my heart.
Hem them away.
I could try if I could cry him and have him.
Come, wrestle with thy affections.
Oh, they take the part of a better wrestler than myself.
Oh, a good wish upon you. You will try in time in despite of a fall. But turning these jests out of service, let us talk in good earnest. Is it possible on such a sudden you should fall into so strong a liking with old Sir Rowland's youngest son?
The Duke, my father, loved his father dearly.
Doth it therefore ensue that you should love his son dearly? By this kind of chase, I should hate him, for my father hated his father dearly. That I hate not Orlando.
No, Faith, hate him not for my sake.
Why should I not? Doth he not deserve well?
Let me love him for that. And you do love him because I do. Look, here comes the Duke.
With his eyes full of anger.
Mistress, dispatch you with your safest taste and get you from our court.
Me, uncle?
You, cousin. Within these 10 days, if that thou beest found so near our public court as 20 miles, thou diest. For
I do beseech your grace. Let me know the knowledge of my fault bear with me. If with myself I hold intelligence, or have acquaintance with mine own desires, if that I do not dream, or be not frantic as I trust I am not, then dear uncle, never so much as in a thought unborn did I offend your highness.
Thus do all traitors, if their purgations did consist in words. They are as innocent as grace itself. Let it suffice thee that I trust thee not.
Yet your mistrust cannot make me a traitor. Tell me whereon the likelihood depends.
Thou art thy father's daughter. There's enough.
So was I when your highness took his dukedom. So was I when your highness banished him. Treason is not inherited, my lord. And if we did derive it from our friends, what's that to me? My father was no traitor. Then, good my liege, mistake me not so much to think my poverty is treacherous.
Dear sovereign, hear me speak.
Aye, Celia, we'd stayed her for your sake. Else had she with her father ranged along.
I did not then entreat to have her stay. It was your pleasure and your own remorse. I was too young that time to value her, but now I know her. If she be a traitor, why then so am I. We still have slept together, rose at an instant, learned, played, eat together, and wheresoever we went, like Juno's swans, still we went coupled and inseparable.
She is too smooth, too subtle for thee, and her smoothness, her very silence, and her patience. Speak to the people, and they pity her. Thou art a fool. She robs thee of thy name, and thou wilt show more bright and see more virtuous when she is gone. Then open not thy lips. Firm and irrevocable is my doom, which I have passed upon her. She is banished.
Pronounce that sentence then on me, my liege. I cannot live out of her company.
Ha! You are a fool! You, niece, provide yourself if you outstay the time. Upon mine honor and in the greatness of my word, you die.
Oh, my poor Rosalind, whither wilt thou go? Wilt thou change fathers? I will give thee mine. I charge thee, be not thou more grieved than I am.
I have more cause.
Thou hast not, cousin. Prithee, be cheerful. Knowst thou not the Duke hath banished me, his daughter?
That he hath not.
No, hath not? Rosalind lacks then the love which teacheth thee that thou and I am one. Shall we be sundered? Shall we part, sweet girl? No, let my father seek another heir. Therefore devise with me how we may fly, whither to go and what to bear with us, and do not seek to take your change upon you, to bear your griefs yourself and leave me out. For by this heaven now at our sorrow's pale, say what thou canst, I'll go along with thee.
Why, whither shall we go?
To seek my uncle in the forest of Arden.
Alas, what danger shall it be to us, maids as we are to travel forth so far? Beauty provoketh thieves sooner than gold.
I'll put myself in poor and mean attire, with a kind of umber smirch my face. The like do you, so shall we pass along and never stir assailants.
Were it not better, because I am more than common tall, that I did suit me all points like a man? A gallant curtle axe upon my thigh, a boar spear in my hand and in my heart. Lie there what hidden women's fear there will. We'll have a swashing and a martial outside, as many cowards have that outface it with their semblances.
What shall I call thee when thou art a man?
I'll have no worse a name than that of Jove's own page. And look, you call me Ganymede. What will you be called?
Something that hath a reference to my state. No longer Celia, but Aliana.
But cousin, What if we essayed to steal the clownish fool out of your father's court? Would he not be of comfort to our travel?
He'll go along o'er the wide world with me. Leave me alone to woo him. Let's away and get our jewels and wealth together. Devise the fittest time and safest way to hide us from pursuit that will be made after my flight. Now go we in content to liberty and not to banishment.
Now, my co-mates and brothers in exile, hath not old custom made this life more sweet than that of painted pomp? Are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court? Here we feel but the penalty of Adam. The season's difference is the icy fang and churlish chiding of the winter's wind, which, when it bites and blows upon my body, even till I shrink with cold, I smile and say, this is no flattery. These are the counselors that feelingly persuade me what I am. Sweet are the uses of adversity, which, like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears yet a precious jewel in his head. And this, our life exempt from public haunt, find tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. I would not change it.
Happy is your grace that can translate the stubbornness of fortune into so quiet and so sweet a style.
Come, shall we go kill us venison? And yet it irks me the poor dappled fools, being native burghers of this desert city, should in their own confines with forked heads have their round haunches gored.
Indeed, my lord. The melancholy Jake grieves at that, and in that kind swears you do more usurp than doth your brother that hath banished you. Today, my lord of Anians and myself did steal behind him as he lay along under an oak, whose antique root peep out, under the brook that brawls along this wood, to the which place of a poor sequestered stag that from the hunter's aim had taken a hurt, did come to languish, and indeed, my lord, the wretched animal heaved forth such groans that their discharge did stretch his leathern coat almost to bursting, and the big round tears coursed one another down his innocent nose in pious chase, and thus the hairy fool, much marked in the melancholy Jacques, stood on the extremest verge of the swift brook, augmenting it with tears.
But what said Jacques? Did he not moralize the spectacle?
Oh yes, into 1,000 similes. First, for his weeping into the needless stream. Poor dear, quoth he, thou makest testament as worldlings do, giving the sum of more to that which had too much. Then, being there alone, left and abandoned of his velvet friends, "'Tis right," quoth he, "thus misery doth part the flux of company." Anon a careless herd full of the pasture jumps along by him and never stays to greet him. "Aye," quoth Jacques, "sweep on, you fat and greasy citizens. 'Tis just the fashion. Wherefore do you upon that poor and broken bankrupt there?" Thus most invectively he pierces through the body of the country, city, court. Yea, in this our lives, swearing that we are mere usurpers, tyrants, and what worse, to fright the animals and to kill them off in their assigned and native dwelling places.
And did you leave in this contemplation?
We did, my lord, weeping and commenting upon the sobbing deer.
Show me the place. I'd love to cope him in these sullen fits, and he's full of matter.
I'll bring you to him straight.
Can it be possible that no man saw them? It cannot be. Some villains of my court are of consent and sufferance in this.
I cannot hear of any that did see her. The ladies, her attendants of her chamber, they found her, saw her abed, and in morning early they found the bed untreasured of their mistress. My lord, the roguish clown at whom so oft your grace was wont to laugh is also missing. Hesperia, the princess's gentlewoman, confesses that she secretly overheard your daughter and her cousin much commend the parts and graces of the wrestler that did but lately foil the sinewy Charles. She believes wherever they are gone, that youth is surely in their company.
Send to his brother. Fetch that gallant hither. If he be absent, bring his brother to me. I'll make him find him. Do this suddenly, and let not search an inquisition quail to bring again these foolish runaways.
Who's there?
What? My young master. Oh, my gentle master. Oh, my sweet master. Oh, my memory of old Sir Rowland. Why do people love you? And wherefore are you gentle, strong, and valiant? Why would you be so fond to overcome the brawny prizer of the humorous Duke? Your praises come too swiftly home before you. Know you not, master, to some kind of men their graces serve them but as enemies? No more do yours. Your virtues, gentle master, are sanctified and holy traitors to you. Oh, what a world is this, when what is comely envenoms him that bears it.
Why? What's the matter?
Oh, unhappy youth. Come not within these doors. Within this roof, the enemy of all your graces lives. Your brother. No brother, yet the son, yet not the son of he who I was about to call his father. He hath heard of your praises, and this night he means to burn the lodging where you used to lie, and you within it. If he fail of that, he will have other means to cut you off. I overheard him and his practices. This is no place. This house is but a butchery. Abhor it. Fear it. Do not enter it.
Why whither, Adam? Wouldst thou have me go?
No matter whither, so you not come here.
Yeah, wouldst thou have me go and beg my food, or with a base and boisterous sword enforce a thievish living on the common road? This I must do, or know not what to do, yet I will not do how I can. I rather will subject me to a malice of a diverted blood and bloody brother.
But do not so. I have 500 crowns. The thrifty hire I saved under your father, which I did store to be my foster nurse when service should in my old limbs lie lame, and unregarded age in corners thrown. Take that, and he that doth the ravens feed, yet providently caters for the sparrow. Be comfort to my old age, here is the gold, and all this I give you. Let me be your servant. Though I look old, yet I am strong and lusty. For in my youth, I never did apply hot and rebellious liquors in my blood, nor did with unabashful forehead woo the means of weakness and debility. Therefore, my age is as a lusty winter, frosty, but kindly. Let me go with you. I'll do the service of a younger man in all your business and necessities.
Oh, good old man. How well in thee appears the constant service of an antique world, where service sweat for duty and not for need. Thou art not fashioned for these times where none will sweat but for promotion, and having that, do choke their service up, even with having it. It is not so with thee. But, poor old man, thou prunest a rotten tree. that cannot so much a blossom yield in lieu of all thy pains and husbandry. But come thy ways. Hey, we'll go along together. And ere we'll have thy youthful wages spent, we'll settle upon some low settled content.
Master, go on, and I will follow thee to the last gasp with truth and loyalty. From 17 years till now, almost 80, here lived I, but now live here no more. At 17 years, many their fortunes seek, but at 80, it is too late a week. Fortune cannot recompense me better than to die well, and not my master's debtor.
Jupiter, how weary are my spirits.
Oh, I care not for my spirits if my legs were not weary.
I could find in my heart to disgrace my man's apparel and cry like a woman. But I must comfort the weaker vessel, as doublet and hose ought to show itself courageous to petticoat. Therefore, courage, good Eliana.
I pray you, bear with me. I cannot go no further.
For my part, I had rather bear with you than bear you. Yet I should bear no cross if I did bear you, for I think you have no money in your purse.
Well, this is the forest of Arden.
Aye, now am I in Arden. The more fool I, when I was at home, I was in a better place. But travelers must be content.
Aye, be so, good Touchstone. Look who comes here. A young man and an old and solemn talk.
That is the way to make her scorn you still.
Oh, Corin, that thou knewest how I do love her.
I partly guess, for I have loved ere now.
No, Corin, being old thou canst not guess. Though in thy youth thou wast as true a lover as ever sighed upon a midnight pillow. But if thy love were ever like to mine, as sure I think did never man love so, how many actions most ridiculous hast thou been drawn to by thy fantasy?
And to 1,000 that I have forgotten.
Oh, thou didst then ne'er love so heartily. If thou rememberest not the slightest folly that ever love did make thee run into, thou hast not loved. Or if thou hast not sat, as I do now, wearying thy hearer in thy mistress's praise, thou hast not loved. Or if thou hast not broke from company abruptly as my passion now makes me, thou hast not loved. Phoebe! Phoebe! Phoebe!
Alas, poor shepherd, searching of thy wound, I have by hard adventure found mine own.
And I mine. I remember when I was in love, I broke my sword upon a stone and bid him take that for coming a night to Jane's smile. Oh, and I remember the kissing of her batlet and the cow's dugs that her pretty chopped hands had milked. And I remember the wooing of a peas cod instead of her, from whom I took 2 cods and giving her them again, said with weeping tears, "Wear these for my sake." Oh, we that are true lovers run into strange capers. But as all is mortal in nature, so is all nature in love mortal in folly.
Thou speakest wiser than thou art aware of.
Oh, nay, I shall ne'er beware of mine own witch till I brick my shins against it.
Jove, Jove, this shepherd's passion is much upon my fashion.
And I mine. But it grows something stale with me.
I pray you, one of you question yon man if he for gold will give us any food. I faint almost to death.
Holla, you clown!
Peace, you fool, he is not thy kinsman.
Who calls?
Your betters, sir.
Else they are very wretched.
Peace, I say. Good even to you, friend.
And to you, gentle sir, and to you all.
I prithee, shepherd, if that love or gold can in this desert place buy entertainment, bring us where we may rest ourselves and feed. Here's a young maid would travel much oppressed and faints for succor.
Fair sir, I pity her and wish for her sake more than for mine own. My fortunes were more able to relieve her, but I am shepherd to another man and do not shear the fleeces that I graze. My master is of a churlish disposition and little recks to find the way to heaven by doing deeds of hospitality. Besides, his coat, his flocks, and bounds of feed are now on sale, and at our sheepcote now, by reason of his absence, there is nothing that you will feed on. But what is, come see, and in my voice you will most welcome be.
What is he that shall buy his flock and pasture?
Oh, that young swain that you saw here but ere while, that little cares for buying anything.
I pray thee, if it stand with honesty, buy thou the cottage pasture and the flock, and you shall have to pay for it of us.
And we will mend thy wages. I like this place, and willingly could waste my time in it.
Assuredly, the thing is to be sold. Go with me. If you like, upon report, the soil, the profit, and this kind of life, I will your very faithful feeder be, and buy it with your gold right suddenly.
Blackbird sing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird sing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of the dark black night.
More. I prithee more.
It will make you melancholy, Monsieur Jacques.
I thank it. More. I prithee more. I can suck melancholy out of a song as a weasel sucks eggs. More. I prithee more.
My voice is ragged. I know I cannot please you.
I do not desire you to please me. I do desire you to sing. Come, warble, come another stanzo. Calling you stanzos?
What you will, Monsieur Jacques.
No, I care not for their names. They owe me nothing. You sing?
More at your request than to please myself.
Well then, if I ever thank any man, I'll thank you. But that they call compliment is like the encounter of two dog apes. And when a man thanks me heartedly, methinks I have given him a penny, and he renders me the beggarly thanks. Come, sing. And you that will not, hold your tongues.
Well, I'll end the song. Sirs, cover the while. The Duke will drink under this tree. He hath been all this day to look you.
And I have been all this day to avoid him. He's too disputable for my company. I think of as many matters as he, but I give heaven thanks and make no boast of them. Come, warble, come.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
I'll give you a verse to this note that I made yesterday, in despite of my invention.
And I'll sing it.
And thus it goes. If it do come to pass that any man turn ass, leaving his wealth and ease, a stubborn will to please, Duke Dame, Duke Dame, Duke Dame, here shall he see gross fools as he, and if he will come to me.
What's that Duke Dame?
'Tis a Greek invocation to call fools into a circle. I'll go to sleep if I can. If I cannot, I'll rail against all the firstborns of Egypt.
And I'll go seek the Duke. His banquet is prepared.
Dear master, I can go no further. I die of food. Here, lie I down and measure out my grave. Farewell, kind master.
Why, how now, Adam? No greater heart in thee. Live a little, comfort a little, cheer thyself a little. If this uncouth forest yield anything savage, I will either be food for it or bring it food to thee. Conceit is nearer death than thy powers. For my sake, be comfortable. Hold death a while at arms, and I will be with thee presently. And if I bring thee not something to eat, I will give thee leave to die. But if thou diest before I come, thou art a mocker of my labor. Well said. Thou lookest cheery. Now I will be with thee quickly. Yet thou liest in some bleak air. So come, I will bear thee some shelter, and thou shalt not die for a lack of dinner. If there live anything in this desert, surely good Adam.
I think he be transformed into a beast, for I can nowhere find him like a man.
My lord, he is even now gone hence. Here was he merry, hearing of a song.
If he, compact of jars, grows musical, we shall have shortly discord in the spheres. Go, seek him. Tell him I would speak with him.
He stays my labor by his own approach.
Why, how now, monsieur? What a life is this that your poor friends must woo your company? What? You look merrily.
The fool. A fool! I met a fool in the forest. A motley fool. Oh, miserable world. As I do live by food, I met a fool who laid him down and basked him in the sun and railed on Lady Fortune in good terms, in good set terms, and yet a motley fool. Good morrow, quoth I. No, sir, quoth he, call me not fool till heaven hath sent me fortune. And then he drew a dial from his poke and, looking on it with lackluster eye, says very wisely, it is 10 o'clock. Thus we may see, quoth he, how the world wags. 'Tis but an hour ago since it was 9, and after 1 hour more 'twill be 11. And so from hour to hour we ripe, and then from hour to hour we rot, and thereby hangs a tale. When I did hear the motley fool thus moral on the time, my lungs began to crow like Chanticleer, that fools should be so deep contemplative. And I did laugh sans intermission, an hour by his dowel. Oh, noble fool, a worthy fool, motley's the only wear.
What fool is this?
Oh, worthy fool, one that hath been a courtier, and says, if ladies be but young and fair, they have the gift to know it. And in his brain, which is as dry as the remainder biscuit after a voyage, he hath strange places crammed with observation, the which he vents in mangled forms. Oh, that I were a fool. I'm ambitious for a motley coat.
Thou shalt have one.
It's my only suit, provided that you weed your better judgments, of all opinion that grows rank in them, that I am wise. I must have liberty with all, as large a charter on as the winds, to blow on whom I please, for so fools have. And they that are most galled with my folly, they most must laugh. And why, sir, must they so? The why is plain as way to parish church. He that a fool doth very wisely hit, doth very foolishly, although he smart. not to seem senseless of the bob. If not, the wise man's folly is autonomized, even by the squandering glances of the fool. Invest in me, my motley. Give me leave to speak my mind, and I will, through and through, cleanse the foul body of the infected world, if they will patiently receive my medicine.
Fie on thee. I can tell what thou wouldst do.
What, for counter, would I do but good?
Most mischievous foul sin in chiding sin, for thou thyself hast been a libertine, as sensual as the brutish sting itself, and all the embossed sores and headed evil that thou with license of free foot hath caught, would thou disgorge into the general world.
Why, who cries out on pride that can therein tax any private party? Doth it not flow as hugely as the sea, till that the weary very means do ebb? What women in the city do I name, when that I say the city women bears the cost of princes on unworthy shoulders? Who can come in and say that I mean her, when such a one as she, such is her neighbor? Or what is he of basest function that says his bravery is not of my cost, thinking that I mean him, but therein suits his folly to the metal of my speech? There then, how then, what then? Let me see wherein my tongue hath wronged him. If it do him right, he hath wronged himself. If he be free, why then my taxing like a wild goose flies, unclaimed of any man? But who comes here?
Forbear and eat no more.
Why, I have eaten none yet.
Nor shall not till necessity be served.
Of what kind should this cup come of?
Art thou thus boldened, man, by thy distress, or else a rude despiser of good manners, that in civility thou seemest so empty?
You touch my vein at first. The thorny point of bare distress hath feigned me from show of smooth civility. Yet I am inland bred and know some nurture, but forbear, I say, and he dies that touches any of this fault till I and my affairs are answered.
And you will not be answered with reason. I must die.
What would you have? Your gentleness shall force more than your force move us to gentleness.
I almost die for food, and let me have it!
Sit down and feed. Welcome to our table.
Speak you so gently? Pardon me, I pray you. I thought that all things had been savage here, and therefore put I on the countenance of stern commandment. But whatever you are, that in this desert inaccessible, under the shade of melancholy boughs loose and neglect the creeping hours of time. If you ever looked on better days, if you ever where bells have knolled to church, if you ever sat at any good man's feast, if you ever your eyelids wiped a tear, know what 'tis pity and to be pitied. But gentleness my strong enforcement be, in which I hope I blush and hide my sword.
True it is that we have seen better days, and have with holy bell been knolled to church, and sat at good man's feast, and wiped our eyes of drops that sacred pity hath engendered. Therefore, sit you down in gentleness, and take upon command what help we have that to your wanting may be ministered.
But forbear your food for a little while like so doe I go to find my fawn and give it food. There's a poor old man, who after me hath many a weary step, limped in pure love, till he be first sufficed, oppressed with 2 weak evils, age and hunger. I will not touch a bit.
Go find him out, and we will nothing waste till you return.
I thank ye, and be blessed for your good comfort.
Thou seest we are not all alone unhappy. This wild and universal theater presents more woeful pageants than the scene wherein we play in.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his act being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. And then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and his shining morning face creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. And a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the par, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good cap and lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big, manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all, that ends this strange, eventful history, is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans everything.
Welcome. Set down your venerable burthen and let him feed.
I thank you most for him.
Glad you need. I scarce can speak to thank you for myself.
Welcome. Fall to. I will not trouble you as yet to question you about your fortunes. Music and good cousin, sing.
Well, you set my life whirling, darling, when you're twirling on the floor. And who cares about tomorrow? What more is tomorrow than another day that you swept me away? Yeah, you swept me away. I see the end of a rainbow, but what more is a rainbow in colors out of reach? If you come down to my window and I climb out my window, and we'll give a reach. And you swept me away. Yeah, you swept me away.
If that you were the good Sir Rowland's son, as you have whispered faithfully you were, and as mine eye doth his effigies witness, most truly lined and living in your face, be truly welcome hither. I am the Duke that loved your father. The residue of your fortune go to my cave and tell me. Good old man, thou art right welcome as thy master is. Support him by the arm. Give me your hand, and let me all your fortunes understand.
Not seen him since? Sir, that cannot be. But were I not the better part made mercy, I should not seek an absent argument of my revenge, thou present. But look to it, find out thy brother, wheresoever he is. seek him with candle. Bring him dead or living within this 12th month, or turn thou no more to seek a living in our territory. Thy lands and all things that thou dost call thine, worth seizure, do we seize into our hands, till thou canst quit thee by thy brother's mouth of what we think against thee.
Oh, that your highness knew my heart in this. I never loved my brother in my life.
More villain thou well. Push him out of doors, and let my officers of such nature make an extent upon his house and lands. Do this expediently, and turn him going.
Hang there, my verse in witness to my love. And thou, thrice crowned queen of the night, survey with thy chaste eye from thy pale sphere of love the huntress name that in my full life doth sway. Oh, Rosalind! Oh, these trees, they shall be my books, and in their barks my thoughts I'll character, that every eye which in this forest looks shall see thy virtue witness everywhere. Run, Orlando, carve on every tree the fair, the chaste, and unexpressive she.
How like you this shepherd's life, Master Touchstone?
Well, truly, shepherd, in respect of itself, it is a good life, but in respect that it is a shepherd's life, it is not. Well, in respect that it is solitary, I like it very well, but in respect that it is a private, it is a very vile life. Now, in respect that it is in the fields, it pleaseth me well, but in respect it is not in the court, it is tedious. And as is it a spare life, look you, it fits my humor well, but as there is no more plenty in it, it goes much against my stomach. Hast any philosophy in thee, shepherd?
No more, but that I know the more one sickens, the worse at ease he is, and he that wants money, means, and content is without 3 good friends. That the property of rain is to wet and fire to burn, that good pasture makes fat sheep, and that a great cause of the night is lack of the sun, that he that hath learned no wit by nature nor art may complain of good breeding, or else comes of a very dull kindred.
Ooh, such a one is a natural philosopher. Wast ever in court, shepherd?
No, truly.
Then thou art damned.
For not being at court, your reason.
Why, if thou never wast at court, thou never sawest good manners. If thou never sawest good manners, then thy manners must be wicked, and wickedness is sin, and sin is damnation. Thou art in parlous state, shepherd.
Not a wit, Touchstone. Those that are good manners at the court are as ridiculous in the country as the behavior of the country is most mockable at the court. You told me that you salute not at the court, but you kiss your hands. That courtesy would be uncleanly if courtiers were shepherds.
Well, instance briefly, come, instance.
We are handling our ewes, and their fells, you know, are greasy.
Why do not courtiers' hands sweat? And is not the grease of a mutton as wholesome as the sweat of a man? Shallow. Shallow. A better instance, I say, come.
Besides, our hands are hard.
Your lips will feel them sooner. Shallow again. Ugh. More sounder instance, come.
And they are often tarred over with the surgery of our sheep, and would you have us kiss tar? The courtier's hands are perfumed with civet.
Oh, most shallow man, thou worm's meat in respect of a good piece of flesh indeed. Learn of the wise and perpend. Civet is of a baser birth than tar, the very, very uncleanly flux of a cat. Mend the instance, shepherd.
You have too courtly a wit for me, I'll rest.
Oh, Will that rest damned? God help thee, shallow man, God make incision in thee, thou art raw.
Sir, I am a true laborer. I earn that I eat, get that I wear. Oh, no man hate, envy no man's happiness, glad of other men's good, content with my harm. And the greatest of my pride is to see my ewes graze and my lambs suck.
Oh, that is another simple sin in you, to bring the ewes and the rams together and to offer to get your living by the copulation of cattle. To be bawd to a bellwether and to betray a she-lamb of a 12-month to a crooked-pated old cuckoldy ram out of all reasonable match. If thou beest not damned for this, the devil himself will have no shepherds. I cannot see else how thou shouldst escape.
Here comes Master Ganymede, my new mistress's brother.
From the east to western end, no jewel is like Rosalind. Her worth being mounted on the wind, through all the world bears Rosalind. All the pictures fairest lined are but black to Rosalind. Let no fair be kept in mind, but the fair of Rosalind.
I'll rhyme you, so 8 years together, well, dinners and suppers and sleeping hours accepted. It is the right butter women's rank to market.
Out, fool.
For a taste. If a heart do lack a hind, let him seek out Rosalind. If the cat will after kind, so be sure will Rosalind. Oh, winter garments must be lined, so must slender Rosalind. They that reap and sheaf and bind, then to cart with Rosalind. Oh, sweetest nut hath sourest rind, such a nut is Rosalind. He that sweetest rose shall find, must find love's prick and Rosalind. This is the very false gallop of verses. Why do you infect yourself with them?
Beast, fool, I found them on the tree.
Oh, truly the tree yields bad fruit.
I'll graph it with you, and then I shall graph it with a meddler. Then it will be the earliest fruit in the country, for you'll be rotten ere you be half ripe, and that's the right virtue of a meddler.
Oh, you have said, but whether wisely or no, I'll let the forest judge.
Peace, here comes my sister reading. Stand aside.
Why should this a desert be? For it is unpeopled. No, tongues I'll hang on every tree that shall civil saying show. But upon the fairest boughs, or at every sentence end, will I. By Rosalind her right, teaching all that read to know the quintessence of every sprite heaven would in little show. But Rosalind of many parts by heavenly signed was devised, of many faces, eyes, and hearts, to have the touches dearest prized. Heaven would that she these gifts should have, and I to live and die her slave.
Oh, most gentle pulpiteer! What tedious homily of love have you buried your parishioners withal, and never cried, have patience, good people?
How now? Back, friends.
Oh, well, I will make an honorable retreat, though not with bag and baggage, yet with scrip and scrippage.
Didst thou hear these verses?
Oh, yes, I heard them all. And more too, for some of them had in them more feet than the verses would bear.
That's no matter, the feet might bear the verses.
Aye, but the feet were lame, and therefore could not bear themselves without the verse, and therefore stood lamely in the verse.
But didst thou hear, without wondering, how thy name should be hanged and carved upon these trees?
I was 7 of 9 days out of wonder before you came. For look here what I found on a palm tree. I was never so berhymed since Pythagoras' time that I was an Irish rat, which I can hardly remember.
Trow you who hath done this?
Is it a man?
And a chain that you once wore about his neck? Change you color.
I prithee who?
Oh, Lord. Lord, it is a hard matter for friends to meet, but mountains may be removed with earthquakes and so encounter.
Nay, but who is it?
Is it possible?
Nay, I prithee, with the most petitionary vehemence, tell me who it is.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, and most wonderful, wonderful, and yet again wonderful. And after that, out of all hooping.
Good my complexion. Dost thou think, though I am caparisoned like a man, I have a doublet and hose in my disposition? 1 inch of delay more is a South Sea of discovery. I prithee, tell me who it is, quickly, and speak apace. I would thou couldst stammer, that thou might pour this concealed man out of thy mouth like wine out of a narrow mouth bottle, either too much at once, or none at all. I prithee, take the cork out of thy mouth, that might drink thy tidings.
So you may put a man in your belly.
Is he of God's making? What manner of man? Is his head worth a hat, or his chin worth a beard?
Nay, he hath but a little beard.
Why, God will send more, if man will be thankful. Let me stay the growth of his beard, if thou wilt deny me the knowledge of his chin.
It is young Orlando that tripped up the wrestler's heels and your heart both in an instant.
Nay, but the devil take mocking, speak sad brow in true maid.
I' faith, cuz, 'tis he.
Orlando.
Orlando.
Last day. What shall I do with my double in hose? What did he, when thou sawest him? What said he? How looked he? Wherein went he? How parted he with thee? Where remains he? How parted he with thee? And when shalt thou see him again? Answer me in one word.
You must borrow me gargantuous mouth first. 'Tis a word too great for any mouth of this age's size. To say I and no to these particulars is more than to answer in a catechism.
But doth he know that I am in this forest and in man's apparel? Looks he as freshly as the day he wrestled.
It is as easy to count atomies as to resolve the propositions of a lover. But take a taste of my finding him and relish it with good observance. I found him under a tree, like a dropped acorn.
It may be well called Jove's tree when it drops forth such fruit.
Give me audience, good madam.
Proceed.
There lay he, stretched along like a wounded knight.
Though it be a pity to see such a sight, it well becomes the ground.
Cry holla to thy tongue, I prithee, curvets unseasonably. He was furnished like a hunter.
Oh, ominous! He comes to kill my heart.
I would sing my song without a burden. Thou bringest me out of tune.
Do you not know I am a woman? When I think I must speak. Sweet, say on.
You bring me out. Soft. Comes he not here?
'Tis he. Slink by and note him.
I thank you for your company, but good faith, I had as lief have been myself alone.
And so had I, but yet for fortune's sake, I thank you too for your society.
God be will you. Let's meet as little as we can.
Oh, I do desire we be better strangers.
I pray you, mar no more trees with writing love songs in their barks.
Oh, I pray you, mar no more of my verses, rating them ill-favoredly.
Rosalind is your love's name.
Yes, just.
I do not like her name.
Well, there was no thought of pleasing you when she was christened.
What stature is she of?
Just as high as my heart.
You are full of pretty answers. Have you not been acquainted with goldsmiths' wives and counted them out of rings?
Not so, but I answer you right painted cloth from whence you studied your questions.
You have a nimble wit. I think 'twas made of Atalanta's heel. Will you sit down with me? And we two will rail against our mistresses, the world in all our misery.
Yeah, I will chide no breather in the world but myself, who I'm against no I know much more faults. So
The worst fault you have is to be in love.
'Tis a fault I will not change for your best virtue. I am weary of you.
By my troth, I was seeking for a fool when I found you.
Oh, while he is drowned in the brook, look but in and you shall see him.
There I shall see mine own figure.
Which I take to either be a fool or a cipher.
I'll tarry no longer with you. Farewell, good Signor Love.
I am glad of your departure. Adieu, good Monsieur Melancholy.
Speak to him like a saucy lackey, and under that habit play the knave with him. Do you hear, Forester?
Oh, very well. What would you?
I pray you, what is the clock?
You should ask me what time of day. There's no clock in the forest.
Then there is no true lover in the forest. Else sighing every minute and groaning every hour should detect the lazy foot of time as well as a clock.
And why not the swift foot of time? Had not been as proper?
By no means, sir. Time travels in divers paces with divers persons.
Where dwell you, pretty youth?
With the shepherdess, my sister, here in the skirts of the forest, like fringe upon a petticoat.
Wait, are you native of this place?
As canny as the dwell you see where she's skindled.
Well, your accent is something finer than you could purchase and so remove your dwelling.
I have been told so of many. But indeed, an old religious uncle of mine taught me to speak, who was in his youth an inland man. One that knew courtship too well, for there he fell in love. I have heard him read many lectures against it, and I thank God I am not a woman to be touched with so many giddy offenses as he has generally taxed our whole sex withal.
Wait. Can you remember any of the principal evils that he laid to the charge of women?
There were none principal. They were all like one another as halfpence are, everyone seeming monstrous till his feller fault came to match it.
I prithee recount some of them.
Nay, I will not cast away my physic, but on those who are sick. There is a man haunts the forest that abuses our young plants with carving Rosalind on their barks, hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies on brambles, all forsooth deifying the name of Rosalind. If I could meet that fancy monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
Well, I am he that is so love shades. I pray you, tell me a remedy.
There is none of my uncle's marks upon you. He taught me to know a man in love, in which cage of rushes I am sure you are not prisoner.
Well, what were his marks?
A lean cheek, which you have not. A blue eye and sunken, which you have not. An unquestionable spirit, which you have not. A beard neglected. But I'll pardon you for that. For simply your having in beard is a younger brother's revenue. Then your hoe should be unguarded, your bonnet unbanded, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoe untied, and everything about you demonstrating a careless desolation. But you are no such man. You are rather point device in your accoutrements, as loving yourself than seeming the lover of any other.
Well, fair youth, I couldn't make thee believe I love.
Me believe it. You may as soon make her that you love believe it, which I warn she is apter to do than confess that she does. That is one of the points in which women still give the lie to their consciences. But in good sooth, are you he that hangs the verses on the trees wherein Rosalind is so admired?
I swear to thee, youth, by the white hand of Rosalind, I am that he. That unfortunate he.
But are you so much in love as your rhymes speak?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness. And I tell you deserves as well a dark horse and a whip as madmen do. And the reason it is not so punished and cured is that the lunacy is so ordinary that the whippers are in love too. Yet I profess curing it by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes, one. And in this way, he was to imagine me, his love, his mistress. And I set him every day to woo me. At which time I, being but a moonish youth, would grieve, be effeminate, changeable, longing, liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconstant, full of tears, full of smiles, for every passion something, and for no passion truly anything, as boys and women are for the most part cattle of this color, would now like him, now loathe him, then entertain him, then forswear him, now weep for him, then spit at him. That I drave my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and to live in a nook, merely monastic. And thus I cured him. And in this way will I take upon me to wash your liver clean as a sound sheep's heart, that there shall not be one spot of love in it.
Well, I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you, if you would but call me Rosalind, and come to my cot every day and woo me.
Now, by the faith of my love, I will, tell me where it is.
Go with me to it, and I'll show it to you. And by the way, you shall tell me where in the forest you live. Will you go?
With all my heart. Could you?
Nay, you must call me Rosalind. Come, sister. Will you go?
Come apace, good Audrey. I will fetch up your goats, Audrey. How now, Audrey? Am I the man yet? Doth my simple feature content you?
Your features? Lord warrants us. What features?
Well, I am here with thee and thy goats, as the most capricious poet honest Ovid was among the gods.
Oh, knowledge, ill inhibited, worse than Jove in a thatched house.
When a man's verses cannot be understood, nor a man's good wit seconded with the forward child understanding, it strikes a man more dead than a great reckoning in a little room. Truly, I would the gods had made thee poetical.
I do not know what poetical is. Oh, is it honest in deed and word? Is it a true thing?
No, truly, for the truest poetry is the most feigning. And lovers are given to poetry, and what they swear in poetry may be said as lovers they do feign.
Do you wish then that the gods had made me poetical?
I do, truly, for thou swearest to me thou art honest. Now, if thou wert a poet, I might have some hope thou didst feign.
Would you not have me honest?
No. Truly. Unless thou wert hard-favored, for honesty coupled to beauty is to have honey sauce to sugar.
A material fool.
Well, I am not fair, and therefore I pray the gods make me honest.
Oh, truly, and to cast away honesty upon a foul slut were to put good meat in an unclean dish.
I am not a slut, so I thank the gods I am foul.
Oh, well, praise be the gods for thy foulness. Sluttishness may come hereafter. Be it as it may be, I will marry thee. And to that end, I have been with Sir Oliver Martext, the vicar of the next village, who hath promised to meet me in this place of the forest and to couple us.
I would fain see this meeting.
Wow, the gods give us joy.
Oh, amen. You men may, if you were of a fearful heart, stagger in this attempt. For here we have no temple but the wood, no assembly but horned beasts. But what though? Courage. Oh, as horns are odious, they are necessary. You know, it is said, many a man knows no end of his goods, right? Right. Many a man has good horns and knows no end of them. Oh, well, that is the dowry of his wife. 'Tis none of his own getting. Horns? Even so. Poor men alone? No, the noblest deer hath them as huge as the rascal. Now, is the single man therefore blessed? No. As a walled town is more worthier than a village, so is the forehead of a married man more honorable than the bare brow of a bachelor. And by how much defense is no better than skill, by so much is a horn more precious than to want. Oh, here comes Sir Oliver. Sir Oliver Martext, you are well met. Will you dispatch us here under this tree? Or shall we go with you to your chapel?
Is there none here to give the woman?
Well, I will not take her on gift of any man.
Truly, she must be given, or the marriage is not lawful.
Proceed. Proceed. I'll give her.
Oh, good even, good master, what you call it? How do you do, sir? You are very well met. God help you, sir, for your last company. I am very glad to see you. Oh, we can adore in hand here, sir. Nay, pray be covered.
Will you be married, Motley?
Well, as the ox hath his bow, sir, the horse his curb, and the falcon her bell, so man hath his desires. And as pigeon's bill, so wedlock would be nibbling.
And will you, being a man of your breeding, be married under a bush like a beggar? Get you to church and have a good priest that can tell you what marriage is. This fellow will but join you together as they join wainscots. Then one of you will prove a shrunk panel and like green timber, warp. Warp.
I'm not in the mind, but I were better to be married of him than of another, for he is not like to marry me well, and not being well married, it will give me a good excuse for me hereafter to leave my wife.
Go thou with me, and let me counsel thee.
Come, sweet Audrey, we must be married, or we must live in Baudry. Oh, farewell, good Master Oliver. Not, oh, sweet Oliver. Oh, brave Oliver. Leave me not behind thee, but, wind away. Begone, I say. I will not wedding with thee.
Is no matter, ne'er a fantastical knave of them. All shall flout me out of my calling.
Never talk to me, I will weep.
Do, I pray thee. But yet have the grace to consider that tears do not become a man.
Have I not cause to weep?
As good cause as one would desire. Therefore weep.
His hair is of a disassembling color.
Something browner than Judas's, Mary. His kisses are Judas's own children.
Faith, his hair is of a good color.
An excellent color. Your chestnut was ever the only color.
And his kissing is as full of sanctity as is the touch of holy bread.
He hath bought a pair of cast lips of Diana, none of winter sisterhood kisses not more religiously. The very ice of chastity is in them.
But why did he swear he would come this morning and comes not?
Nay, certainly, there is no truth in him.
You think so?
Yes. I think he is not a pick-purse nor a horse stealer, but for his verity in love, I do think him as concave as a covered goblet or a worm-eaten nut.
Not true in love.
Yes, when he is in, but I think he is not in.
You have heard him swear downright he was.
Was is not is. Besides, the oath of a lover is no stronger than the word of a tapster. They are both the confirmer of false reckonings. He attends here in the forest on the Duke your father.
I met the Duke yesterday and had much questioning with him. He asked me of what parentage I was, and I said, as good as he. So he laughed and let me go. But what talk we of fathers when there is such a man as Orlando?
Oh, that's a brave man. He writes brave verses, speaks brave words, swears brave oaths, and breaks them bravely. Quite traverse, athwart the heart of his lover as a puny tilter that spurs his horse, but on one side breaks his staff like a noble goose. But all's brave that youth mounts and folly guides. Who comes here?
Mistress and master, you have oft inquired after the shepherd that complained of love, who you saw sitting by me on the turf, praising the proud, disdainful shepherdess that was his mistress.
Well, and what of him?
If you will see a pageant truly played between the pale complexion of true love and the red glow of scorn and proud disdain, go hence a little, and I shall conduct you if you will mark it.
Oh, come. Let us remove the sight of lovers feedeth those in love. Bring us to the sight, and you shall say, I'll prove a busy actor in their play.
Sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me. Do not, Phoebe, say that you love me not, but say not so in bitterness. The common executioner whose heart the accustomed sight of death makes hard, falls not the axe upon the humbled neck, but first begs pardon. Will you sterner be than he that dies and lives by bloody drops?
I would not be thy executioner. I fly thee, for I would not injure thee. Thou tellest me there is murder in mine eye. 'Tis pretty sure and very probable that eyes that are the frailest and softest things, who shut their coward gates on enemies, should be called tyrants, butchers, murderers. Now I do frown on thee with all my heart. And if mine eyes can wound, now let them kill thee. Now counterfeit the swoon. Why now fall down? Or if thou canst not, oh, for shame, lie not to say mine eyes are murderers. Now show the wound mine eye hath made in thee. Scratch thee but with a pin, and there remains some scar of it. Lean but upon a rush, the cicatrice and capable impressure thy palm some moment keeps. But now mine eyes, which I have darted at thee, hurt thee not, nor I am sure there is no force in eyes that can do hurt.
Oh, dear Phoebe, if ever, as that ever may be near, you meet in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then shall you know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrows make.
But till that time come not thou near me. And when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks, Pity me not, as till that time I shall not pity thee.
And why, I pray you? Who shall be your mother that you would that you insult, exalt, and all at once over the wretched? What though you have no beauty, as by my faith I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed. May you thus be proud and pitiless? Why, what means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than in the ordinary of nature's sail work. What's my life? I think she means to dangle my eyes too. No, faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheek of green that can attain my spirits to your worship. You foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her, like foggy south puffing with wind and rain? You are 1,000 times a properer man than she a woman. Such fools as you that make the world full of ill-favored children. 'Tis not her glass but you that flatters her, and out of you she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But mistress, know yourself down on your knees and thank heaven, fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell while you can. You are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy. Love him. Take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to the scoffer. So take her to thee, shepherd. Fare you well.
Sweet youth, I pray you, chide a year together. I had rather hear you chide than this man woo.
He'll fall in love with your foulness, and she'll fall in love with my anger. If it be so, as fast as she answers thee with frowning looks, I'll sauce her with bitter words. Why look you on me?
For no ill will I bear you.
I pray you, do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than vows made in wine. Besides, I like you not. If you will know my house, is at the tuft of olives here hard by. Shepherd, fly her hard. Shepherdess, look on him better, and be not proud. Though all the world could see, none could be so abused in sight as he. Come to our flock.
Dead shepherd, now I find I saw of might who ever loved that love not at first sight.
Sweet Phoebe?
How, what sayest thou, Silvius?
Sweet Phoebe, pity me.
Why, I feel sorry for thee, gentle Silvius.
Wherever sorrow is, relief would be. If you do sorrow at my grief and love, by giving love your sorrow and my grief were both extermined.
Thou hast my love. Is not that neighborly?
I would have you.
Why, that were covetousness. Silvius, the time was that I hated thee, and yet it is not that I bear thee love. But since that thou canst talk of love so well, thy company, which erst was irksome to me, I will endure, and I'll employ thee too. But do not look for further recompense than thine own gladness that thou art employed.
So holy and so perfect is my love, and I in such a poverty of grace that I shall think it a most plenteous crop to glean the broken ears after the man that the main harvest reaps. Loose now and then a scattered smile, and that I'll live upon.
Knowest thou the youth that spoke to me erewhile?
Oh, not very well, but I have met him oft, and he hath bought the cottage and the bounds that the old Carlot was once master of.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy. Yet he talks well. But what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. It is a pretty youth, not very pretty, but sure he's proud, and yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion, and faster than his tongue did make offences, I did heal it up. He is not very tall, yet for his years he's tall. His leg is but so, and yet 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lip, a little riper and more lusty red than that mixed in his cheek. 'Twas just the difference between the constant red and mingled damask. Ah, there be some women, Silvius, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have gone near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not. And yet I had more need to hate him than to love him. For what had he to do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black and my hair black, and now I am remembered, scorned at me. I marvel why I answer not again. But that's all one. Omittance is no quittance. I'll write him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Silvius?
Phoebe, with all my heart.
I'll write it straight. The matter's in my head and in my heart. I will be bitter with him and passing short. Go with me, Silvius.
I prithee, pretty youth, let me be better acquainted with thee.
They say you are a melancholy fellow.
I am so. I do love it better than laughing.
Those that are in the extremity of either are abominable fellows, and betray themselves to every modern censure worse than drunkards.
Why? 'Tis good to be sad and say nothing.
Why then, 'tis good to be a post.
I have neither the scholar's melancholy, which is emulation, nor the musicians, which is fantastical, nor the courtiers, which is proud, nor the soldiers, which is ambitious, nor the lawyers, which is politic, nor the ladies, which is nice, nor the lovers, which is all of these. But it is a melancholy of my own, compounded of many simples, extracted from many objects, and indeed the sun-dries contemplation of my travels, in which my often rumination wraps me a most humorous sadness.
A traveler. By my faith, you have great reason to be sad. I fear you have sold your own lands to see other men's. Then to have seen much and to have nothing is to have rich eyes and poor hands.
Yes, I have gained my experience.
Yet your experience makes you sad. I'd rather have a fool to make me merry than experience to make me sad, and to travel for it too.
Good day and happiness, dear Rosalind.
Nay then, God be will you, and you talk in blank verse.
Farewell, monsieur traveler. Look you lisp and wear strange suits, dissemble all benefits of your own country, be out of love with your nativity, and almost chide God for making you that countenance you are, or else I'd scarce think you've swam in a gondola. Why, how now, Orlando? Where have you been all this while? You, a lover, and you served me such another trick. Come no more in my sight.
My fair Rosalind, I come within an hour, I promise.
Break an hour's promise in love. He that will divide a minute into 1,000 parts and to break but a part of the thousandth part of a minute, each shall be said of him. The Cupid hath clapped him o'er the shoulder, but I'll warrant him heart whole.
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay,
But
and you be so tardy, come no more in my sight. I, Hennis Leaf, be wooed of a snail.
of a snail?
I, of a snail. For though he comes slowly, he carries his house on his head. A better jointure, I think, than you make a woman. Besides, he brings his destiny with him.
And what's that?
Why, horns, which such as you are fain to be beholding to your wives for. But he comes armed in his fortune and prevents the slander of his wife.
Virtue is no horn maker, and my Rosalind is virtuous.
And I am your Rosalind.
It pleases him to call you so, but he hath a Rosalind of a better leer than you.
Come, woo me. Woo me, for I am now in a holiday humor and like enough to consent. What would you say to me now, were I your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you had better speak first, and when you are gravelled for lack of matter, you may take occasion to kiss. Good orders, when they are out, they will spit, and for lovers lacking, God warn us, matter. The cleanliest shift is to kiss.
Yeah, but how if the kiss be denied?
And then she puts you to entreaty, and there begins new matter.
What could be out, being before his beloved mistress?
Mary, that should you, if I were your mistress. Or I should think my honesty ranker than my wit.
Oh, of my suit?
Not out of your apparel, but out of your suit. Am not I your Rosalind?
It would take some joy to say you are, because I would be talking of her.
Well, in her person, I say, I'll not have you.
Well, then in my own person, I die.
No, faith, die by attorney. The world is almost 6,000 years old, and in all that time, there's never one man that died in his own person, the vitalic of a love cause. But all of these are lies. Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love.
Well, I would not have my right Rosalind of this mind, for I protest her frown might kill me.
By this hand it will not kill a fly. But come, now I will be your Rosalind in a more coming on disposition. Ask me what you will, I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, faith will I, Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
Aye, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
Oh, I hope so.
Why then, can one desire too much of a good thing? Come, sister, you shall be the priest and marry us. Give me your hand, Orlando. What say you, sister?
Yeah, pray thee, marry us.
I cannot say the words.
You must. Begin. Will you, Orlando?
Don't you? Will you, Orlando, have to wife this Rosalind?
I will.
Yes, but when?
Why now, as fast as she can marry us.
Then you must say, I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I may ask you your commission, but I do take thee, Orlando, for my husband. There goes a wife before a priest, and certainly a woman's thought runs before her actions.
So do all thoughts, they are winged.
And now tell me, how long will you have her after you have possessed her?
Forever and a day.
say a day without the ever. No, Orlando. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when they are maids, but the tide changes when they are wives. I will be more jealous of thee than a Barbary cock pigeon over his hen, more clamorous than a parrot against the rain, more newfangled than an ape, more giddy in my defenses than a monkey. I will weep for nothing like Diana in the fountain, and I will do so when you are disposed to be merry. And I will laugh like a hyena when thou art inclined to sleep.
But will my Rosalind do so?
My marriage, by my life, she will do as I do.
Yeah, but she is wise.
Else she could not have the wit to do this.
What?
The wiser, the waywarder. Make the doors upon a woman's wit, and it will out at the casement. Shut that, 'twill fly at the keyhole. Stop that, will fly with the smoke out the chimney.
A man that had a wife with such wit, he might say wit whither wilt.
Nay, you might keep that check for it till you meet your wife's wit going to your neighbor's bed.
And what wit could wit have to excuse that?
Mary, to say she came to seek you there. You must never take her without her answer, else you take her without her tongue. Oh, that woman that cannot make her faults her husband's occasion. Let her never nurse her children herself. She'll breed it like a fool.
For these 2 hours, Rosalind, I will leave thee.
Alas, dear love, I cannot lack thee 2 hours.
Well, I must attend the Duke at dinner. By 2 o'clock, I will be with thee again.
Aye. Go your ways. Go your ways. I knew what you would prove. My friends told me as much, and I thought no less. That flattering tongue of yours won me, but is one castaway, and so come death. 2 o'clock is your hour.
Aye, sweet Rosalind.
By my troth, and in good earnest, and so God mend me by all pretty oaths that are not dangerous. If you break one jot of your promise, come 1 minute behind your hour, I will think you the most pathetical, break promise, and the most hollow lover, and the most unworthy of her that you call Rosalind, that may be chosen out of the gross band of the unfaithful. Therefore, beware my censure, and keep your promise.
With no less religion than if thou wert indeed my Rosalind, so adieu.
Well, time is the old justice that examines all such offenders, and let time try. Adieu.
You have simply misused our sex in your love prate. We must have your doublet and hose plucked over your head and show the world what the bird hath done to her own nest.
Oh, cuz, my pretty little cuz. Thou dost not know how many fathoms deep I am in love. But it cannot be sounded. My affection hath an unknown bottom like the Bay of Portugal.
Or rather bottomless, that as fast as you pour affection in, it runs out.
Nay, that same wicked bastard of Venus that was begot of thought, conceived of spleen and born of madness, that rascally boy that abuses everyone's eyes because his own are out, let him be the judge of how many fathoms deep I am in love. I'll tell thee, Eliana, I cannot be out of the sight of Orlando. I'll go find a shadow and sigh till he come.
And I'll sleep.
What say you now? It's not past 2 o'clock, and here much Orlando.
I warrant you, with pure love and troubled brain, he hath ta'en his bows and arrows, and is gone forth to sleep. Look, who comes here?
My errand is to you, fair youth. My gentle Phoebe did bid me give you this. I know not the contents, but as I guess by the stern brow and waspish action which she did use as she was writing of it, it bears an angry tenor. Pardon me, I am but as a guiltless messenger.
Patience herself would startle at this letter and play the swagger. Bear this, bear all. She says I am not fair, that I lack manners. She calls me proud, and that she could not love me were man as rare as Phoenix. Odds my life, her love is not the hair that I do hunt. Why writes she so to me? Why, shepherd, well, this is a letter of your own devices.
No, I protest, I know not the contents. Phoebe did write it.
Come, you are a fool. And turn it to the extremity of love. I saw her hand. If she has a leathern hand, a freestone colored hand. I verily did think her old gloves were on, but was her hands. Huswife's hands. But 'tis no matter. I did say she never did write this letter. This is a man's invention and his hand.
Sure, it is hers.
It is a boisterous and cruel style. A style for challengers. She defies me. Will you hear this letter?
So please you, for I never heard it yet. Yet to heard too much of Phoebe's cruelty.
She feeds me. Mark how the tyrant writes. Art thou God to shepherd turned, that a maiden's heart hath burned? Can a woman rail thus?
Call you this railing?
Why, thy God he laid apart, warst thou with a woman's heart. Did you ever hear such railing? Whilst the eye of men did woo me, that could do no vengeance to me, meaning me a beast. If the scorn of your right eyne have power to raise such love in mine, alack in me what strange effect would thy work in mild aspect. Whilst you chide me, I did love. How might your prayers move? He that brings this love to thee, little knows this love in me, and by him seal up thy mind, whether by youth and kind will the faithful offer take of me and all that I can make, or else by him my love deny, and I'll study how to die.
Call you this chiding?
Alas, poor shepherd.
Do you pity him? He deserves no pity. Wilt thou love such a woman? What, to make thee an instrument and play false strains upon thee, not to be endured? Well, go your way to her, for I see love hath made thee a tame snake. And say this to her, that if she love me, I charge her to love thee. And if she will not, I will never have her unless thou entreat for her. If you be a true lover, henceforth, and not a word, for here comes more company.
Good morrow, fair ones, pray you. If you know, where in the purlieus of this forest stands a sheep-coated fence about with olive trees?
West of this place, down in the neighbor bottom, the rank of osiers by the murmuring stream, left on your right hand brings you to the place. But at this hour, the house doth keep itself. There's none within.
If that and I may profit by a tongue, then should I know you by description? Such garments and such years. This boy is fair of female favor and bestows himself like a ripe sister. The woman low and browner than her brother. Are not you the owner of the house I did inquire for?
It is no boast being asked to say we are.
Orlando doth commend him to you both, and to that youth he call his Rosalind, he sends this bloody napkin. Are you he?
I am. What must we understand by this?
some of my shame, if you will know of me what man I am, and how and why and where this handkerchief was stained.
I pray you, tell it.
When last the young Orlando parted from you, he left a promise to return again within an hour, and pacing through the forest, chewing the food of sweet and bitter fancy, lo, what beheld? He threw his eyes aside, and mark what object did present itself under an oak whose boughs were mossed with age and high top bald with dry antiquity. A wretched, ragged man, o'ergrown with hair, lay sleeping on his back. About his neck, a green and gilded snake had wreathed itself, who, with her head nimble in threat, approached the opening of his mouth. But suddenly Orlando, it unlinked itself, and with indented glides did slip away unto a bush, under which bush's shade a lioness, with udders all drawn dry, lay crouching, head on ground, with cat-like watch. When that the sleeping man should stir, for 'tis the royal dispensation of that beast to prey on nothing that doth seem as dead. The scene? Orlando did approach the man, and found it was his brother, his elder brother.
Oh, I have heard him speak of that same brother, and he did render him the most unnatural that lived amongst men.
And well he might do, for, well, I know he was unnatural.
But to Orlando, did he leave him there? Food to the sucked and hungry lioness?
Twice he did turn his back and proposed so, but kindness nobler ever than revenge, and nature, stronger than his just occasion, made him give battle to the lioness, who quickly befell before him, in which, hurtling from miserable slumber, I awakened.
Are you his brother?
'Twas you he rescued.
Was you that did so oft contrive to kill him?
Oh, 'twas I, but 'tis not I. I do not shame to tell you what I was, since my conversion so sweetly tastes, being the thing I am.
But for the bloody napkin.
Oh, by and by. Oh, when the first to the last betwixt us two tears our recountements had most kindly bathed, as how I came into that desert place. In brief, he led me to the gentle Duke, who gave me fresh array and entertainment, committing me unto my brother's love, who led me instantly unto his cave, there stripped himself, and here upon his arm the lioness had torn some flesh away, which all this while had bled. And now he fainted and cried in fainting upon Rosalind. Brief, I recovered him, bound up his wound, and after some small space, being strong at heart, he sent me hither, strange as I am, to tell this story, that you might excuse his broken promise and give this napkin dyed in his blood unto the shepherd youth that he doth call unsport his Rosalind.
Why,
Oh.
how now, Ganymede?
Oh, many will swoon when they do look on blood.
There is more in it. Cousin, Ganymede.
Oh, look, he recovers.
I would I were at home.
We'll lead you thither. I pray you, will you take him by the arm?
Be of good cheer, youth. You a man. You lack a man's heart.
I do so. I can miss it. Sir, a body would think this was, well, counterfeit. And I pray you tell your brother how well I counterfeited. I hope.
That was not counterfeit. There is too great testimony in your complexion that was a passion of earnest.
Counterfeit, I assure you.
Well then, take a good heart and counterfeit to be a man.
So I do, if faith, I should have been a woman by right.
You look paler and paler. Pray you, draw homewards. Good sir, go with us.
That will I. for I must bear answer back how you excused my brother, Rosalind.
I shall devise something. But I pray you commend my counterfeiting to him. Will you go?
We shall find a time, Audrey. Patience, gentle Audrey.
Faith, the priest was good enough for all the old gentlemen saying.
No, a most wicked Sir Oliver, Audrey, a most vile Martext. Oh, but Audrey, there is a youth here in the forest lays claim to you.
I know who 'tis. He has no interest in me in the world. Here comes the man you mean.
It is meat and drink to me to see a clown. By my troth, we that have good wits have much to answer for. We shall be flouting, we cannot hold.
Good even, Audrey.
God you good even, William.
And good even to you, sir.
Good even, gentle friend. Cover thy head, cover thy head. Nay, prithee, be covered. Now, how old are you, friend?
25, sir.
Oh, ripe age. Is thy name William?
William, sir.
Oh, fair name. Was born here in the forest?
Aye, sir. I thank God.
Oh, thank God, a good answer. Art rich?
Faith, sir. So.
Oh, so is good, very excellent good. And yet it is not. It is but so. Art thou wise?
Aye, sir, I'm a pretty bit.
Oh, why, thou sayest well. Now, I do now remember a saying, a fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool. The heathen philosopher, when he had a desire to eat a grape, would open his lips when he put it into his mouth, meaning thereby that grapes were made to eat and lips to open. Do you love this maid?
I do, sir.
Oh, give me your hand. Art thou learned?
No, sir.
Oh, then learn this of me. To have is to have. For it is a figure in rhetoric that drink, being poured out of a cup into a glass, by filling the one doth empty the other. For all your writers do consent that Ips is he. Now you are not Ips, for I am he.
Which he, sir?
He, sir, that must marry this woman. Therefore, you clown, abandon, which is in the vulgar, leave. The society, which in the boorish is company, of this female, which in the common is woman, which together is abandon the society of this female, or clown, thou perishest. Oh, or to thy better understanding, diest, or to wit, I kill thee. Take thee away. Translate thy life into death, thy liberty into bondage. I will deal in poison with thee, or in bastinado, or in steel. I will bandy with thee in faction. I will o'errun thee with policy. I will kill thee 150 ways. Therefore tremble and depart.
Do, good William.
God rest ye merry, sir.
Trip, Audrey. Trip.
Is it possible that on so little acquaintance you should like her? But seeing you should love her, and loving wooing she should grant, and will you preserve to enjoy her?
Neither call the giddiness of it in question, the poverty of her, the small acquaintance, my sudden wooing, nor her sudden consenting, but say with me. I love Alliana. Say with her that she loves me. Consent with both that we may enjoy each other. It shall be to your good, for my father's house and all the revenue that was old Sir Rowland's will I estate upon you, and here live I and die a shepherd.
You have my consent. Let your wedding be tomorrow, and thither I will invite the Duke and all contented followers. But go you and prepare Aliana for look, here comes my Rosalind.
God save you, brother.
And you, fair sister.
Oh, my dear Orlando, how it grieves me to see thee wear thy heart in a scarf.
Oh, it is my arm.
I thought thy heart had been wounded with the claws of the lion.
Wounded it is, but with the eyes of a lady.
Did your brother tell you how well I counterfeited to swoon when he showed me your handkerchief?
Aye, and greater wounds than that.
Oh, yes. I know where you are. Nay, 'tis true. There was never anything so sudden but the fight of two rams and Caesar's personical brag of I came, I saw, I overcame. For your brother and my sister no sooner met, but they looked. No sooner looked, but they loved. No sooner loved, but they sighed. No sooner sighed, but they asked one another the reason. No sooner knew the reason, but sought the remedy. And in these degrees, they have made a pair of stairs to marriage, which they will climb incontinent or else be incontinent before marriage. They are in the very wraths of love, and they will together. Clubs could not part them.
They shall be married tomorrow, and I will bid the Duke the nuptial, but oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. By so much, there more shall I tomorrow be at the height of heart heaviness, by how much I shall think my brother happy is having what he wishes for.
Why then tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind.
I can no longer live by thinking.
I will weary you no longer with idle talking. Know of me then, for now I speak to some purpose, that I know you are a gentleman of good conceit. I speak not this that you should bear a good opinion of my knowledge, in so much as I say I know you are. Neither do I labor for greater esteem than may in some little measure draw a belief from you, to do yourself good and not to grace me. Believe then, if you please, that I can do strange things. I have, since I was 3 years old, conversed with a magician most profound in his art, and yet not damnable. If you do love Rosalind so near the heart as your gesture cries out, when your brother marries Eliana, shall you marry her? I know into what straits of fortune she is driven, and it is not impossible to me, if it appear not inconvenient to you, to set before her your eyes tomorrow, human as she is, and without any danger.
Speakest in thou sober meanings.
My life, I do. Which I do tender dearly, though I say I am a magician, therefore put you to your best array, bid your friends, for if you will be married tomorrow, you shall, and to Rosalind, if you will. Look, here comes a lover of mine and a lover of hers.
Youth, you have done me much ungentleness to show the letter that I writ to you.
I care not if I have. It is my study to seem despiteful and ungentle to you. You are followed, by a faithful shepherd. Look upon him. Love him. He worships you.
Good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be all made of sighs and tears. And so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service. And so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes. All adoration, duty, observance, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all observance, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
Who do you speak to? Why blame you me to love you?
To her that is not here, nor doth not here.
I pray you no more of this. It's like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon. Shepherd, I will help you if I can. Miss, I would love you if I could. Tomorrow, meet me all together. I will marry you if ever I marry woman, and I'll be married tomorrow. Sir, I will satisfy you if ever I satisfied a man, and you shall be married tomorrow. I will content you if what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. As you love Rosalind, meet. As you love Phoebe, meet. And as I love no woman, I'll meet. So fare you well. I have left you your commands.
I'll not fail if I live.
Nor I.
Nor I.
Tomorrow is the joyful day, Audrey. Tomorrow will we be married.
I do desire it with all my heart. And I hope it is no dishonest desire to be a woman of the world. Here comes the banished Duke's page.
Well met, honest gentleman.
Oh, by my troth, well met. Come, sit. And a song.
I am for you. Sit in the middle. Shall I clap into it roundly without hawking or spitting or saying I am hoarse, which are the only prologues to a bad voice? 25 years of my life and still I'm trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. I realized quickly when I knew I should that this world is made up of this brotherhood of man, for whatever that means. So I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head, and I start feeling a little peculiar. So I wake up in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on?
Oh, truly, young gentleman, though there was no great matter in the ditty, yet the note was very untunable.
You are deceived, sir. I kept time. I lost not my time.
Oh, by my troth, yes. I count it but time lost to hear such a foolish song. God be with you, and God mend your voice. Come, Audrey.
Dost thou believe, Orlando, that the boy can do all that he hath promised?
Oh, I doth, my lord, I doth do believe. Yet not believe, sometimes do not, as sometimes fear thy hope and know thy fear.
Patience once more whilst our compact is urged. You say you will, if I bring in your Rosalind, you will bestow her on Orlando here.
That would I, had I kingdoms to give with her.
And you say you will have her when I bring her.
That would I, were all kingdoms king.
You say you'll marry me if I be willing.
That will I, should I die the hour after.
But if you refuse to marry me, you'll give yourself to this most faithful shepherd.
So is the bargain.
You say you'll have Phoebe, if she will.
Though to have her and death were both one thing.
I have promised to make all this matter even. Keep your word, O Duke, to give your daughter. You yours, Orlando, to receive his daughter. Keep your word, Phoebe, that you'll marry me, else refusing me to wed this shepherd. Keep your word, Silvius, that you'll marry her, if she refuses me, and from henceforth I go to make all doubts even.
You remember in this shepherd boy some lively touches of my daughter's favor.
Yeah, my lord, the first time I ever saw him, we thought he was a brother to your daughter. But my lord, here's a boy, but his four is born, and hath thou tutored the rudiments of many despite studies by his uncle, whom he reports a great magician obscured in the circle of this forest.
There is, sure, another flood toward, and these couples are coming to the ark. Here comes a pair of very strange beasts, which in all tongues are called fools.
Salutation and greetings to you all.
Good my lord, bid him welcome. This is the motley-minded fellow I have so often met in the forest. He hath been a courtier, he swears.
Oh, if any man doubt that, let him put me to my purgation. I have trod a measure. I have flattered a lady. I've been politic with my friend, smooth with mine enemy. I have undone 3 tailors. I have had 4 quarrels and have had like to fought 1.
And how was that taken up?
Faith, we met, and found the quarrel was upon the 7th cause.
How 7th cause? Good my lord, like this fellow?
I like him very well.
God ill you, sir. I desire you of the like. Well, I press in here, sir, amongst the rest of the country copulatives, to swear and to forswear, according as marriage binds and blood breaks, a poor virgin, sir, an ill-favored thing, sir, but mine own. A poor humor of mine, sir, to take that no man else will. Rich honesty dwells like a miser, sir, in a poor house, as your pearl in your foul oyster.
By my faith, he is very swift and sententious.
According to the fool's bolt, sir, and such dulcet diseases.
But for the 7th cause, how did you find the quarrel in the 7th cause?
Upon a lie, 7 times removed. As thus, sir, I did dislike the cut of a certain courtier's beard. He sent me word, if I said his beard was not well cut, he was in the mind it was. This is called the retort courteous. If I sent him word again, it is not well cut, he would send me word he cut it to please himself. This is called the quip modest. If again, it is not well cut, he disabled my judgment. This is called the reply churlish. If again, it is not well cut, he would answer I spake not true. This is called reproof valiant. If again, it is not well cut, he would say I lied. This is called the countercheck quarrelsome, and so too the lie circumstantial and the lie direct.
And how oft did you say his beard was not well cut?
Well, I just go no further than the lie circumstantial, nor he does not give me the lie direct, and so we measured swords and parted.
Is this not a rare fellow, my lord? He's as good at anything, and yet a fool.
He uses his folly like a stalking horse, and under the presentation of that, he shoots his wit.
And then is there mirth in heaven, when earthly things made even alone to atone together. Good Duke, receive thy daughter. Hymen from heaven brought her, yea, brought her hither, that thou mightst join her hand with his, whose heart within his bosom is.
To you, I give myself, for I am yours. To you, I give myself, for I am yours.
If there be truth in sight, you are my daughter.
There be truth in sight. You are my Rosalind.
If sight and shape be true, why then my love adieu.
I'll have no father if you be not he. I'll have no husband if you be not he. Nor ne'er wed woman if you be not she.
Peace, ho! I bar confusion. 'Tis I must make conclusion of these strange events. Here's 8 that must take hands to join in Hymen's bands. If truth holds, truth contends, you and you no cross shall part. You and you are heart and heart. You to his love must accord, or have a woman to your lord. You and you are sure together as winter to foul weather. Whilst a wedlock hymn we sing, feed yourselves with questioning, that reason wonder may diminish, how thus we meet and these things finish.
This earth not alone we stand, outstretched arm and upturned hand, never knowing when to shake steady. And now till we have seldom seen, I will go if you go with me. Understand I will wait for thee. Try to catch up if you move quickly, if the rain does blow. And oh sir, if you ever lose your way, you can call upon this family, you can call upon this day. And old man, if you ever lose your way, you can call upon this family, you can call upon this day. And I'll stand on your shoulders, watch us grow older. I can see us far along the road. As the trail goes deeper, you're my giver, my keeper. Laughter for years untold, 'cause I can stand to stay right where I am. Let the water fill this hand, bring it to your mouth, let it pass beyond your lips. No gale can down this ship. Wherever you go, there you are. And if I go, I won't go far. Wherever you go, there you are. And if I go, I won't go far. And oh, sir, if you ever lose your way, you can call upon this family, you can call upon this day. And old man, if you ever lose your stay. You can call upon this family. You can call upon this day.
Oh, my dear niece, welcome thou art to me. Oh, even daughter, welcome in no less degree.
I will not eat my word. Now thou art mine. Thy faith, my fancy to thee doth combine.
Let me have an audience for a word or two. I am the second son of old Sir Rowland. I that bring these tidings to this fair assembly. Duke Frederick, hearing how that every day men of great worth resorted to this forest, addressed a mighty power, which were on foot in his own conduct, purposely to take his brother here and put him to the sword. And to the skirts of this wild wood he came, for meeting with an old religious man. After some question with him, was converted, both from his enterprise and from the world, his crown bequeathing to his banished brother, and all their lands restored to them again that were with him exiled. This to be true, I do engage my life.
Welcome, young man. Thou offerest fairly to thy brother's wedding. To one his lands withheld, and to the other land itself at large, a potent dukedom. First, in this forest, let us do those ends that here we were well begun and well begot. And after, every of this happy number that have endured shrewd days and nights with us shall share the good of our returned fortune, according to the measure of their states. Oh, meantime, forget this new fallen dignity and fall into our rustic revelry. Oh, play, music, and you, brides and bridegrooms all, with measured heap enjoy to the measures fall.
Sir, by your patience, if I heard you rightly, the Duke hath put on a religious life and thrown into neglect the pompous court?
He hath.
In my will, out of these converts, there is much to be learned and heard. To your former honor, I bequeath. Your patience and your virtue well deserve it. To you, a love that your true faith doth merit. To you, your love and land and great allies. To you, a long and well-deserved bed. And to you, Wrangling, for thy loving voyage is but for 2 months' victual. So to your pleasures, I am for other than dancing measures.
Stay, Jacques, stay.
To see no pastime I what you would have, I'll stay to know at your abandoned cave.
Proceed, proceed. We will begin these rites, as we do trust they'll end in true delights.
It is not the fashion to see the lady the epilogue, but is no more unhandsome than to see the lord the prologue. If it be true that good wine needs no bush, 'tis true a good play needs no epilogue. But to good wine they do use good bushes, and a good play proves the better with the help of good epilogues. What a case am I in then, that am neither good epilogue nor cannot insinuate with you on behalf of a good play? I am not furnished like a beggar, therefore to beg will not become me. My way is to conjure you, and I'll begin with the women. I charge you, O women, for the love you bear to men, to like as much of this play as may please you. And I charge you, O men, for the love you bear to women, as I perceive by your simpering none of you hates them, that between you and the women the play may please. If I were a woman, I would kiss as many of you as had beards that liked me, complexions that pleased me, and breaths that defied not. And I am sure as many as have good beards, good faces, or sweet breaths will, for my kind offer, when I make curtsy, bid me farewell.